Hi, my name is Karthik, and this is how I actually got better at the SAT. I remember the first practice test I ever took. I didn't do that well. I think I got an 1120 or an 1140. I just remember leaving a lot of the questions blank, not even understanding how to begin answering a lot of the questions, and just not being that confident of the test overall. And throughout my time in high school, I had a lot of difficulty even finding time to practice for the SAT. My entire school year was pretty much booked with 4 hours of sports every weekday and all the classes I was trying to take. So I realized in order to get better at the SAT, I needed to get the most out of my effort. Every single hour that I put in, I needed to make sure that it was the best use of that time. And this is my final score, which I submitted to colleges. Soft versus hard skills. What's the real difference and what's the significance of me telling you this? So, easiest put, I think the difference is just how measurable they are, right? You can't really measure soft skills in an explicit way, but you can still tell if someone is better at said skill or worse at said skill, such as social skills, let's say. You can't really measure them on a scale, but you can tell if someone is better or someone is worse than, let's say, another person, right? Hard skills you can clearly measure, you can plot your progress pretty easily, right? And even though the SAT can kind of be seen as a hard skill, such as, you get a score, you get exactly how many questions you got right or wrong on every section, I still think you should treat the SAT like a soft skill in the sense that you need to put the same amount of repetitive practice and not really care about scores and percentage accuracy as much as you do understanding all the content and making sure you understand every question, right? Because your progress on every practice test you take, let's say you take one a week, your trend of progress might not be completely linear. It might be bouncing up and down. So I think it's really important to treat the SAT like a soft skill, improve at the SAT by treating it like a soft skill. So obviously to improve at the SAT, you have to practice, right? But the key is volume. The key is how much you practice. So I watched a video the other day and it talked about the scientific study, right? And in that study, they tried to find what is the highest correlating thing to improving your SAT score. And they found that it was actually just volume, right? How many problems that they did. So if you go through more problems, you're probably going to improve, right? So despite me really wanting a good score and really wanting this end goal, I found it really hard to focus on volume, to focus on how many problems I was doing. And I just wasn't really productive. I wasn't able to just sit down and crank out problems. I would do maybe one or two or maybe up to five problems and I just get lazy and I'd quit. Right. So I'm going to be making a full guide on everything I did to become more productive. And that's going to be an hour long video. So keep a lookout for that. But not only do you really have to focus on volume during the SAT, you also have to focus on test problem accuracy, right? And this isn't just getting problems right or getting problems wrong. This is more about, is the problem accurate to the test, right? Is this phrase of this specific kind of question, is this going to be something that I'm going to see on the SAT, right? And we don't always know that, right? When you get problems, right, that aren't directly from the SAT website or any like College Board resource, you're not going to receive very accurate problems. You're going to receive problems that most likely will test the concepts that are on the SAT, but they might have different language, they might have different phrasing, just things that aren't accurate to the SAT. So one thing that you really have to focus on is finding accurate problems, finding problems that are actually going to be the same content and the same type as the stuff that you might encounter on the SAT. And the only way to really do that is to look at College Board resources. So previous SATs, practice SATs, College Board Blue Book, and on top of that, Khan Academy. That one's free, so and it has pretty accurate writing. But this idea of accurate problems also applies to what's specifically on the SAT, like what formulas are even tested, what content is even shown, what are you even going to see on the SAT? You need to make sure that the questions that you're receiving actually are on the SAT. There have been so many times where I've seen problems about specific concepts that I thought I needed to know, but I've never seen them on the SAT. And if you go to the College Board website, it's not even listed as something that's going to be tested. So make sure you constantly refer to that. So speed versus content. And this is a really big mistake that I made when I first started out. I was focusing on trying to finish the section. When I took that first ever practice test and I realized I wasn't answering most of the questions, I thought my biggest problem was speed. I wasn't fast enough, and that was my main issue of why my score wasn't big enough, as big as I wanted it to be, right? But that's actually not the way to go for it, because people think of speed and content as two different things when they're actually just the same thing. You have to get good at every type of question. And once you get good, that's how you get faster. Your ability to do the question faster is directly correlated to how well you understand the question. If you understand the question extremely well, you'll be able to do the question much faster than if you didn't understand it, right? So speed is essentially how well do you understand the content. If you understand the content, you will get faster. Now, I'm not going to be completely against timing yourself. You obviously have to, because there's time constraints on the real SAT. But the best way to time yourself is not with a timer, with just an alarm at the end of the section with the specific time that you need. It's actually to put a stopwatch, right? Have no end limit to your timer. Just have it keep running, and then just press the stop button when you've finished your section, so you can actually figure out how much time you're spending overall, but you're getting effective practice. So I'm going to end this video with this, kind of corny quote, but I think it really fits the mindset you need to have when preparing for the SAT. The man who says he can and the man who says he can't are usually both correct, by Confucius. Now, that really highlights belief, and that's, I think, one of the most important things you need to know in the SAT. You need to believe that it's possible. I have done it. I have improved my score using like this ideology, these methods that I've shown you. It is very much possible to improve your score a significant amount in a short timeline. And it might even be possible to exceed what other people have done. If you are learning from them, you can probably exceed what they have done. So it's very much possible for you to improve your score, and for you to improve your score massive amounts, no matter where you're starting. And that's where the most important part of the SAT, or at least improving on the SAT, is belief. You need to believe that you can do it. And if there's one thing that you take away, it's that you are capable of doing it. It's definitely possible. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you learned something today.